2 Corinthians chapter number 5 and verse number 17 says this: Therefore, if anyone is in Messiah, he is a renewed creature. The old matters have passed away. See, all matters have been renewed. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 1 of the powerful Torah portion, Lecha. This is the Torah portion that is pivotal to all that we began to study from this point on throughout the rest of the Torah cycle. Now, that's not to say that Bereshit and Noach that we have spent the last 2 weeks on don't have something important to say. They're incredibly powerful and incredibly important Torah portions. They reference the creation and the establishment of mankind. So with them, we see the nature of man, who man is at his core. With Lecha, we begin to see who man is and his potential, who it is that Yah's calling can cause him to become. You see, Abraham, or Avram, as we first meet him in Lecha, as we are introduced to him, it simply says in chapter number 12, verse 1, And Yahweh said to Avram, Go yourself out of your land, from your relatives and from your father's house, to a land which I show you. Now, more often than not, what we seem to focus on is verse number 2 that says that I will make you a great nation and bless you, and you make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And then verse 3, I shall bless those who bless you and curse him who curses you, and in you all the clans of the earth shall be blessed. So typically, as those who have come out of the American denominational systems, we focus on the blessing. And don't take me wrong, I'll take all the blessing I can get. Even in the parameters of financial increase and material acquisitions and so forth. Let's be honest, in the American mind, when there are more zeros after the dollar sign and our bank account, we're encouraged. When we have things that make us comfortable, that provide tools for us to accomplish our work, new automobiles, new things, there's a rush. There's that dopamine dump into our being, and we're all excited. So even in that realm, blessings can be fun. Let's put it that way. To be blessed in that understanding can be fun. It can be exciting. It can be exhilarating. Obviously, and scripturally, that's not what Yah is really talking about. Neither is that the purpose and the design of the blessing from Yah. But we're talking about a life of significance. We're talking about being important to the plan and to the scheme of Yah. We're talking about being useful as a servant to the Most High to strategically involve ourselves in other people's lives, especially those who have capacity to replicate what we put into them. We should consistently be looking for those that have the ability to replicate what we're doing. And again, in the American idea of things, we tend to suggest that if I can teach someone to do what it is that I do, and they can do it as well or better, then I become obsolete. In the economy of Yah, none of us are obsolete. Not until our mission is full, completed, and we're ready to go home. But even then, that's temporary, because in the kingdom, we start all over again. And there's 1,000 years where you and I have importance, significance, roles to play, things to do, things to accomplish. We're not going to be sitting on the creek bank fishing all day and eating grapes and sitting in the shade. I mean, that's not the kingdom. So we go back to Avram. Avram was not a Hebrew originally. He was a man of Mesopotamia who had Mesopotamian perspectives, appreciations, a worldview, a language, a culture, an ethnicity, a history. All of these things said that he was a man of Ur, that he was Chaldean. In modern terms, more than likely, he would have been Iraqi from Iraq. That was who he was. That was the way he was raised. That was his worldview and perspective. The Midrash, I believe it is, tells us the behind-the-scenes story. How did he begin to cry out that there certainly is a master creator beyond the dumb idols? Now, from what I have read and understood, Terach, his father, was an advisor to the king and an idol maker, and that Avram grew tired of the fanciful imaginations about these idols, realizing we make these things that can't be alive, crying out, who are you and how do I connect with you? And in the crying out, similar to Israel crying out in Mitzrayim, similar to those who cried out through the various pogroms and Holocaust and persecutions and expulsions of these people, the years over, they cry out and Yah sends deliverers. So let's understand that this man had no real appreciation of the God who would be the God or the Elohim of the Hebrews. It just simply didn't exist. There's not that history. But he is the beginning of that history, the root of that. When he heard this voice and he obeyed the voice, and here his wife Sarai is to be appreciated as to have an equal belief and radical trust as he did, that she would leave with him and that they would go to an unknown land, live among an unknown people, and hear this voice and simply follow and do what it says. He's a new creature. When we read this verse in Corinthians, and Rashul says, you are in Messiah, you're a new being, you're a new creature. We put that within the understandings of the church pew, and it's a born-again scripture. It's about salvation. It's about come down to the altar and pray with me. Repeat after me and ask Messiah to come live in your heart. That's a whole nother teaching. So we need to understand that it also applies to Avram. He found himself following Messiah as Messiah was being revealed to him without the Torah, without an understanding of the history, without an understanding of what you and I know now to be true. He boldly walked with a voice. Now, it's after he gets into the land in chapter 12 that Yah, by some means, appears to him. And maybe we'll touch on that later in the week. But the reality is, this man changed. He no longer saw himself as Chaldean or from Ur. He wasn't a Mesopotamian man. He was a man who had crossed over. Ivri, the word we translate for Hebrew. It is in the crossing over. It is the moving away from what you know and have been trained to know into the realm of what Yah has revealed and is consistently revealing to those who trust him, that we become Hebrew. As far as the bloodline that we can trace, I can get it close to a Jewish lineage. I can't prove it. It really doesn't matter whether I am a Jew or not by blood. I know that I'm a Hebrew because I've left what I've known and crossed over to what he's revealing. If you've done the same, welcome to the Hebrew family. You and I are sons of Abraham. More tomorrow. It's going to get exciting, folks. We'll see you then. Shalom.